Now delighted to be joined this evening by Miguel Nunez to talk about his role as Dee Jay in Street Fighter. As we look back on 25 years on the Street Fighter franchise and our special Street Fighter documentary. So far, we've spoken to Adrian Bryanowski, who played Zangief. We've spoken to Damien Chapa, who has played the role of Ken Masters. We've spoken to Mi Young Wing, who played the role of Chung Lee. And we've spoken to Ken Sawada, who played the role of Captain Sawada. I'm now delighted this evening to be joined by Miguel A Nunez, who played the role of Dee Jay. I suppose 25 years on, Miguel, Street Fighter, in terms of its importance to you and your life and your career and the character Dee Jay, does it still hold a special place in your heart?
Absolutely, 100%. Street Fighter was probably one of my dearest, fondest memories. Everybody say, what's the most fun you've ever had on any project you worked on? And my answer has always been Street Fighter and Scooby-Doo, because both were shot in Australia and for different reasons. Scooby-Doo is because it's on some amazing Tangalooma Island, but Street Fighter is always one or two. I pretty much am going to put it one, because they treated us so special. Universal or Capcom was the people who did it. And they gave us like humongous suites. To this day in my entire career, I've been in the business over 50 years. No one's ever given us to this day. They gave us security, bodyguards, limos, training. And I remember when we were training for it, because all the other guys were semi. As for Andrew Zangief, he was already cut up, looked like a chiseled Adonis statue.
Yeah.
But we all had to go through these karate and a training. And I remember I was there every day. I wanted to learn everything. I was ready to do because I got it free. And he was so mad. He was like, listen, all of these other guys, if Universal, they wanted to pay me, they couldn't even afford me. And Universal's paying for this every day and they're not showing up. And he was all mad because everybody wasn't taking it serious. And I was taking it the most serious, and I didn't even fight in the movie. But it was an amazing experience. I didn't know who Kylie Minogue was at the time, and me and her became like the two closest on the show. And Kylie Minogue turned out to be one of the nicest, and I had no idea who she was. I just thought she was just some white girl they hired, may have been a good actress. I had no idea of her statue. And we became really good friends. And she was like, hey, you want to go with me to the Brisbane Film Festival? So I said, okay. So I went with her to the Brisbane Film Festival. And when we got out of the car, they were like, Kylie, over here. Kylie, over here. And I'm like, who the hell are you? I had no clue who she was, but she was the nicest, sweetest person I've ever met in my entire life. And it was just an amazing experience because it was my first time in Australia, and they gave us all of the best of everything. It was still one of my number one, number two experiences I've ever had in this entire business.
Yeah, and I suppose, Miguel, in terms of Street Fighter, the two blockbuster stars hired for the movie were Raul Julie and Jean-Claude Van Damme. And in terms of, there were the first two casting. When did you get started cast for the movie and your character Dee Jay? Was it originally in the script, or was Dee Jay one of those characters added by Capcom into the script? Or what was your understanding of the role?
And as far as my understanding, I was auditioning early on, so he was always in there. He was always in the script, as far as I know. I mean, you remember they kept a lot of it secret. A lot of that stuff secret. So they kept some of this information to a secret. But I think he was, as far as I know, he was always in there. I think they wanted all the characters in the movie, so I think he was always in there.
Yeah, and I suppose, Miguel, in terms of Street Fighter as well, it's such an iconic sort of global sort of fan base as well. And I suppose Capcom is one of the biggest game producers in the world. So in terms of that, did you know anything about Street Fighter before you got involved in the project?
Yes, I'd always, because I'm from that era. I know I look young, but I'm 61 years old. But when I was coming up, I played Street Fighter religiously, and so I knew about it. And to be a part of that, to me, was it was, I mean, I think I cried or something. It was amazing. And again, I've never worked for any production company, any studio that took care of us, their actors and cast members like Capcom did. And I don't know anything about Capcom. I haven't even spoken to them. I haven't had no any dealings with them since. I'm not being paid by them, but they took care of us better than anybody ever, 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 ever has.
Yeah, and I suppose Miguel, Street Fighter as well. I suppose you mentioned you shot in Australia and Thailand, but towards the end, I suppose there was an awful lot of Capcom put a deadline for the movie to be out in December. So in terms of the initial project, I suppose, in terms of finishing the movie, was the last bit of it, was it chaotic in terms of trying to get it over the line for that deadline?
Again, as far as I know, I don't remember any of that because that was on the production level and we were just actors waiting for our instructions. But I do remember at the end there was some kind of rush to finish for some reason, or we were behind or something. And I remember some things being combined, like the end of the movie when we had to rush out and the explosion was happening, the money. I remember some things having to be combined. I don't know all the details, but I think there was at the end rush to get it out because it was timing, I think, but I don't know.
And what was your initial reaction when you saw the movie for the first time, the finished sort of product, and that sort of initial when the cast got to see it for the first time? Were you taken back, and was it what you expected?
Absolutely, because I mean, I love that kind of. I mean, I did all like Friday the 13th and Return of the Living Dead and all that sci-fi. I did all of that stuff before. So when I saw it, I was blown away, and I was proud of everybody. Raul Julia was just like the greatest, calmest guy ever. Always a little tidbit when he would come to the set. He would do his makeup. He was get in the makeup chair and his makeup person had been with him his whole life. So she knew him. So he would get in the makeup chair and do just like this.
Miguel?
You're back, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Miguel, in terms of Street Fighter going forward, if there was an opportunity for you to play a cameo role in a future movie or a future TV series and relive that Dee Jay character, would that be something you'd be up for?
Idea on top of that.
And so, Miguel, in terms of moving, so I suppose you mentioned the cast there, and you mentioned Raul Julie, but also a big blockbuster star was Jean-Claude Van Damme. And how was Jean-Claude Van Damme in terms of his professionalism in terms of Street Fighter? And I know he had some difficulties at the time, but did you find him a modern actor in terms of his commitment and his work rate to the project?
Absolutely 100%. He was always prepared, always ready. Any other all I ever saw of Claude Van Damme. He was a
On that note, Miguel Nunez, an absolute pleasure to talk to you this evening, to relive your memories as Dee Jay in Street Fighter as we celebrate 25 years of the Street Fighter franchise documentary. No doubt you were the original Dee Jay. There's been only one or Dee Jay ever in Street Fighter in terms of movies, and it's a role that you bestilled to really good effect. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and hopefully, please God, we'll see a new Street Fighter movie out and you can relive that character, Dee Jay, in the 21st century. Take care, Miguel.
Follow me on Instagram at